We are talking about the Declan Rice blow. It is a very big blow for the club Arsenal, but still there's the slightest of chances for us to still to sign Declan Rice. But right about now, we've got quite not good information, not good news for you. As you already know, everybody wants Declan Rice to join Arsenal, but we've got quite bad news, I should say, to the club, to the fans of Arsenal. Not the best of news, as it is a very big blow. But there is the slightest of chances still for Arsenal to sign Declan Rice. Hello everyone, thank you for being part of this podcast. And make your point, subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you do not miss out on whatever we've definitely got to bring to, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related, right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kaus, as we definitely talk sport and as definitely we talk everything that definitely is happening in the world of sport right about now. Declan Rice has been linked to the club Arsenal for a very long period of time. Last summer transfer window, January transfer window, and now 360. We are back talking about Declan Rice and him joining the club Arsenal. Recent days, very good, heavy links, everybody talking about him joining Arsenal, Arsenal being the favourites, and now history could repeat itself. History could repeat itself, and that's why I've got a lot of information to tell you about Declan Rice's blow. Actually Arsenal's blow in regards of Declan Rice's transfer to the club. So Mikel Arteta has done a very good job with transfers when it comes to the transfer season, and when we see which football players he has signed, we can definitely tell that he's signed very good football players. Undoubtedly he's signed quite good football players. Look at the signings that he's made in the summer transfer window and also in the general transfer window. Look at football players like Leandro Trossard. Look at Trossard. Look at Gabriel Jesus. Look at Alexander Zinchenko. Look at former Chelsea football player who's that, Jorginho. All of these football players definitely are very good when it comes to sporting talent. It actually is not sporting talent, even knowing which football player will come and excel. I think Mikel Arteta is very good, because Mikel Arteta, it is said that he does most of the work on his own. Not on his own, he has a big team, but he has a very big say. It's not like some other clubs where you find a manager is just a figure. And I'm not saying this just for the sake of talking. I'm just telling you the reality. The reality is that some clubs, the manager does not have a big say. It's a team of people that decide for the manager. The manager's job is to get to the touchline during games and training, and say a few things to football players, encourage them. But when it comes to transfers, they are definitely limited. They bring for you football players they want, and you have to make sure they are into your game, your system of play. But that is not with Arsenal. Maybe Arsenal had it before, which I highly doubt, because it could have done it with maybe Unai Emery, but I also highly doubt, because football managers who've managed Arsenal, all of them always show that they've got quite a bit of power on their side. It's not like Chelsea recently with the co-owner of Chelsea, Todd Bowley, telling football players what to do. What do you expect the manager to think, and what do you want him to do as a football manager? So I definitely think it's not called for a football owner. He's a co-owner, football club owner, to go into the dressing rooms of the football players and start telling them of that's not. They should have their instructions from the manager, and that is it. So I think Chelsea were definitely did not get it quite well there. So looking at really how things have transpired with Mikel Arteta and him when it comes to transfers, he's definitely done quite well. He's signed well. He's signed the right football players to play in the right positions. But towards the end, I think because it wasn't the best. It was a very good squad, but the alternatives were definitely not the best, and that's why Arsenal. Everybody was talking about depth. There is a big problem of depth at the club. Arsenal need to solve the problem of depth, and really, this was at the beginning of the season when Arsenal was leading the table. He led the table for a very long period of time, and everybody said it. Everyone said it. Arsenal is going to lose out, and that was not in bad faith. Almost everybody said it. Arsenal is going to lose out on the last minute because they lack depth. They've got very good football players. They're playing quite well, which is quite okay. Very well, very good. Everybody knew that. But despite knowing that was a very they had a good squad, they had a very good team, still everybody knew that they were going to fail. Almost everybody knew towards the end there would be quite a lot of pressure, and these football players would not match the pressure that was being placed onto them. Because when you look, aren't you to see, when everybody was saying Arsenal is going to fall, they kept on. Arsenal definitely kept on moving. But towards the end, there was quite a lot of pressure. They had played very many games, and the options that were available. And when Gabriel Jesus had injuries, it also affected Arsenal. You need a perfect football player as an option. You need a very good football player as an option. You need depth, and I think people were definitely right. It's not, I think, it's proved itself that people were right about what they were saying. Arsenal had a chance of signing more football players, very good talent, very good football players in the general transfer window, but it didn't match what was expected. The signings were good, but it didn't match what was expected because they did not win the trophy. I mean, what stopped Arsenal from winning? Arsenal was meant to win. 100%, I was confident. If I were to bet for any club, I would say Arsenal is going to take the Premier League title, more especially in the second phase of football. Leave alone the first phase, we thought, before the general transfer window, I say, we were saying, it's just a run. Arsenal just having a good run at Manchester City. But towards the end, everybody definitely knew it was not just a good run. Arsenal were taking the Premier League title. But again, the football players disappointed. How do you just draw with those small clubs? Anyway, I'm not saying they are small. Sorry about that. I'm not saying they are small, but I'm saying those football clubs are small, but they're not as big as Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Anyway, so I definitely saw, all of us saw that coming. We saw Arsenal losing at the last minute, and not very many people were happy about it. Not a lot of people were happy about Arsenal's loss, because Manchester United wanted Arsenal to win the Premier League title. Liverpool wanted Arsenal to win the Premier League title. Chelsea wanted Arsenal to win the Premier League title. Manchester United has its reasons because Manchester City is running for the treble, and that is something that Manchester United does not want. That's why, for the first time, Manchester United fans were very much interested in Arsenal winning the title, So Arsenal had quite a lot of support, but it is what it is. Arsenal came second. So anyway, let's get to this blow. Let's get to the blow that Arsenal has had, okay? And I told you before that history might repeat itself. So Declan Rice was linked to the club Arsenal, and we for some reason last in the general transfer window, it did not move to the club Arsenal. And in the beginning, at the beginning of the actually not at the beginning, just a few weeks ago, A few weeks ago, we all knew that that he's going to Arsenal. That Declan Rice is definitely going to Arsenal whatsoever, because he showed interest himself that he wants to play for Arsenal. He's going to Arsenal, and everybody thought that is definitely very okay, and that's a very good decision. But again, when you see what definitely transpired, the bad news is that one more time, Chelsea's planning a hijack. I mean, Chelsea made us look fools, you know. Chelsea made every sports analyst look a fool, because when you see there's this young football player, Mikhail Mudryk. Mikhail Mudryk was heavily linked to Arsenal. Personal terms were agreed, you know. Undoubtedly, personal terms were agreed. And Mikhail Mudryk was watching Chelsea games. Arsenal games. Mikhail Mudryk was heading into the direction of Arsenal. But it comes out that Mikhail Mudryk, at the last minute, Chelsea hijacks Mikhail Mudryk, puts in a lot of cash, puts in a lot of money, and they definitely go for him. And despite Mikhail Mudryk wanting to join Arsenal, Shakhtar Donetsk comes out and is like, you know what, Mikhail Mudryk, you want to join Arsenal, but Arsenal is not paying us enough money. Arsenal is not giving us enough money. But we've got Chelsea, we've got Todd Bowley injecting in a lot of money. Todd Bowley comes and definitely puts in quite a lot of money, seals the transfer, puts in the money, and it's like, are you willing? Are you coming or you're not? If you're coming, come. If you don't come, I'll still be alright. And they're like, oh, okay. And definitely, he takes Todd Bowley takes the football player, takes Mikhail Mudryk. And now we're saying history might repeat itself. Chelsea, despite the fact that Declan Rice's favourites is Arsenal, there are also other clubs like Real Madrid who are interested in Declan Rice. But there's no big reason as to why any Arsenal fan should worry about Real Madrid, because Declan Rice is not interested in going to Spain. Declan Rice is just interested in remaining in the Premier League. However, we're talking about remaining in the Premier League. However, the Premier League has a number of clubs. There is Liverpool that is very interested in him, but it's not such a threat, you know. It's not a big threat. And then there is, despite Liverpool being interested in him, they're not a very big threat. Then the real threat comes in. The real threat definitely